Welcome, everyone, to Life Beyond 6 Feet. I'm Damien from RKB Paranormal. I'm joined by my co-host Josh, and we have
Yep.
another special host with us. Our buddy Ted has just recently joined the team.
Ah.
This week, we're joined by Jessica and Chastity of Mockingbird Paranormal. Ladies, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. So, you ladies are based out of Knoxville, correct?
Yes.
All right, cool. And there's 4 of y'all total.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, 6 depending on where we go.
Okay, I got you. So, how did you guys start? Who started the team?
It was a complicated story. I've known this one since high school, and Chelsea and Lindsay, our other team members, are her sisters.
Okay.
So we were being, little trespassers way before we were a team. And then we went and did an investigation at Hell's Bar, and Steven was like, y'all need a team name. Like, we're not a team, we're just friends doing this, but okay, whatever. So with his urging and a bunch of dead birds that were spinning around the whirlpool, we became Mockingbird.
Hey, it works. It's a different name. It's unique, so it stands out, and you have a cool story behind it. So,
All right.
So when did y'all officially start?
Officially, we started in 2020, like everybody else.
That's what I can say. That's when we started too. I think COVID, with being trapped indoors for so long, people were just like, let's go paranormal investigating. So, but like you guys, we kind of trespassed growing up and stuff too, breaking into abandoned houses we thought were haunted and all this other shit. So we kind of cut our teeth the same way. So you said you've been to Hell's Bar. Damn, how did that go?
That place was crazy. We had some scheduling issues with the guides that were there for us. So we got the building all night. Like, we were there when the sun came up the next morning.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So about what? 6. Yeah, about 6 in the morning. It was pretty quiet. From midnight to 6, it was pretty quiet. Like, there wasn't much happening at all. But then at 6 o'clock, like, I swear to you, it was like people were coming to work. We were hearing walkers, we were hearing people walking, people talking, and it was just the 4 of us in there. Like, even our guide, he was like, I'm tired. I live in the marina. Call me if you need me. Yeah, let us. He said to call him, let him know when we let him out. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That place is on our bucket list if they ever open it back up for investigations, which I think they're starting to consider because I keep getting a ton of questions about it. So
yeah, I think Nicole said she's working it out with the insurance people.
Right.
You know, they've moved all their distillery stuff in.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully, fingers crossed. I know that's a place Josh has been wanting to go for a while, and so hopefully they'll open it back up, and that can be a place we can eventually hit. So, what got you into the paranormal? Like, was it stuff growing up, or is it something you were always intrigued by? Was it the TV shows? Like, what got you guys into this?
Well, obviously, we're both in our 30s, so we grew up with, ghost adventures and ghost hunters and all that. So that kind of started it, but we were always kind of the weird kids that were like spending the night in the cemeteries anyway. So once we actually got some of the equipment, we were like, yeah, why not? It's a hobby.
Well, I mean, what really got me into it was when I was little, I used to watch that show from MTV. What was it? Fear
Factor?
No, it was an MTV show. They used to put people in these locations and they'd stay a few nights. They give them these tasks to do. It only lasted like a season. It was, Godsmack was the
intro music.
Voodoo.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it. It might have been just Fear, but yeah.
Fear Tactics, maybe?
No, I think it was
no.
You can find it on YouTube. Like, there's full episodes still on YouTube. And then World's Scariest Places on Earth.
Yeah.
Okay. So never had any personal experiences when you were growing up or anything?
Oh yeah, when I was little, from the ages of my first few months up to about I was 3, I lived in a haunted house with my great grandparents. And my mom would tell me all the time, she's like, Jessica, I'd hear you in there jabbering and talk like you were someone. And then as I've gotten older, I've had other experiences. Like one time when I was, let's see, I think I was like 14, there was an old farmhouse at the end of the road. I used to live out in BFE, Corrington, Tennessee. So, I mean, there's nothing out there. And me and my sisters walking the school bus. We see this little girl with a little house on the prairie looking dress. She was pure white almost. Just run across the field. And we were like, I stopped. She stopped. And I went, did you see that? And she goes, did you see that?
Yeah, the only real experience I had as a kid was when I was 15, my uncle was in a motorcycle accident in Myrtle Beach. So obviously we live in Knoxville. My aunt lives across the street. So we were spending the night in the ICU waiting rooms because, hotels are expensive. And we were there I think he was over there for like 3 months in ICU.
Jeez.
And I was staying with my aunt one night and hospital, it doesn't get dark. But right. I saw a nurse go by the waiting room door, like go into the ICU, right? And I had her clipboard and everything, and I looked, and I never heard the doors open, but she just kept on going. And then I told my aunt about it the next day. She's like, yeah, don't acknowledge her. I've noticed her too. Don't talk about it. Because, of course, when we all came back, she stayed over.
Right. That's pretty wild. Hospitals in general, especially at night, are just really fucking creepy. And just to see that, I would want to approach her.
Right? Well, that's kind of what I did. I stuck my head out. I was like,
so
where'd you go?
As far as investigations, what's like the wildest thing you've experienced thus far?
Okay. I have mine. I don't know if you have yours.
I gotta think back. Go on.
Okay, well, I have mine. I am not sensitive. I don't really see stuff, but I am the one on the team that's like, okay, I'm here. Show me what you got. Like, I'll spend the night in the morgue. I don't care. I'll go over here by myself. I don't care. And so that's my attitude.
You're like Josh.
So we went in our first trip to Old South, Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I went in like Billy Badass. I'm not scared of anything. Here we go. Yeah. Until we got up to the nurse's station on the 3rd floor. And Beth Allen was one of the tour guides at the time. She's our paramom because she says that I put myself in stupid situations like a bunch of kids would.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like, we're fixing to get rushed. And I'm like, okay. Not thinking anything of it. About that time, this black shadow thing comes out of the doorway, and it's like in her face because her and Beth are sitting down, and I'm leaned up against the wall. So I'm standing there like, because I see it. I'm like, I don't see things, but I see it. And Beth's like, don't acknowledge it, don't look at it, don't look at it, don't. Of course, I'm like, and I literally watch it go from them right here, and I'm like, holy shit. So Beth's like, we're done. You're going to the patio. You're on the patio. I'm like, okay. I sit outside like shaking for that entire break, like 20 minutes. I was just like,
she actually looked like a PTSD victim, like a Vietnam vet.
Oh goodness.
I think my crazy experience also happened at Old South. Also, my craziest experience. I was in the OR on the 3rd floor, and I just got this weird. I don't brag about it. I don't really put it out there for people. If you know, you don't. But I'm sensitive to things and I feel things. But I'm sitting there and I'm getting this weird sense of I need to get the hell out of here. And I'm just sitting there and I'm listening to my sister who's hung over from the night before. She's falling asleep on the bed, and I'm like,
operating room bed. She's just like,
yeah. And I'm over there like, I need to go. All of a sudden, because my eyes have adjusted to the light. I don't carry flashlights with me or anything, so my eyes have adjusted to the darkness, and all of a sudden it's like advanced darkness, and it felt like something just kind of climbed up over me and came down in front of me, and it blacked out. And I was like, nope, F this, I'm done. And I ran out as fast as I could. I get down to the the part where where the psych ward and the recovering addicts are, all the doors in that hallway are shaking, rattling, just going freaking crazy. I'm standing there in the middle of it like, oh my God, I'm not gonna get off this damn floor. Oh my God, I'm too afraid to move. Meanwhile, my sister, who is partly hungover, she's following me behind.
She has no clue.
She has no idea what's going on. She goes, what? And I'm like, oh. Finally, the doors just stopped. They just stopped. And not Millie, what was her name? I can't think of her name. I had it until I went to say it. Whatever, her name on the very end, her door, because she doesn't like it to be shut, just slams open. And I said, fuck this. Ran down 3 flights of steps, ran completely out of the building. I've never ran out of a building in my life. Usually I'm like, okay, I'm convinced. But it was a fight or flight. And I was like, no, fuck this. It ain't worth it. And then they had to coax my ass to come back in. And then I swore I would never go back to Old South Pittsburgh. And I came back 2 more times after that.
Now, did that happen at like one of their public events, or were y'all there just as a team, just by yourselves?
Mine was public.
Mine was as when we came back as a team.
Yeah.
See, I've heard Old South is super active, and we've been there once during a public investigation, which we aren't really fans of because
there's
it's so many people, and it's hard to really capture anything. And so, I mean, I'm still open to doing them occasionally, just to kind of meet some new people and stuff. But as far as trying to actually gather evidence, a public investigation is really hard to do that.
Well, I agree.
So when that happened and all those doors were shaking, like what was going through your head other than just trying to get the hell out of the building?
Pretty much.
Because I'd probably be pissing myself. I mean,
I stopped. I had to stop because I went into panic attack mode because it was just a whirlwind of everything happened. Like I hit, like that was the most intense feeling I've ever got in my life. Like I felt like I was in danger, and if I did not get out of there right then and there, something was gonna get me. But it's like, but as soon as I took a deep breath and stopped for a second, it was like, and then all of a sudden the doors just stopped. And I was like, Nelly. Okay, Nelly, that's her name. Thank you. And then I ran. I took my opportunity as soon as I stopped to run.
So
I
did y'all
stayed behind.
capture any of this on anything, on any video, audio?
No, because we all thought we were like, okay, well, something scared the hell out of Jessica. So if we stay here long enough, it'll happen for us. Best thing until she took it with her, because our REM pod was going off when she was there and everything else. And then once she took off.
Yeah, because I left all my equipment with them. I said, fuck, I'm done. I don't even think I grabbed my phone. I think I left it with y'all.
And saying that's what sucks about having an experience like that when you don't capture it.
Right.
Because then you just have the story. And for people that don't believe in this stuff, they're like, oh, okay, you guys are full of it.
Right.
So, and we've experienced that too, where we'll have shit happen, but it'll either be, right after we've stopped filming because we're going to switch spots, or right when we get into a room. That happened to us at Old Scott County Jail last year. Like every time me and Josh would go into a room, shit would start popping off, but it would be right before we start rolling video or audio, or it would start happening right when we shut everything off because we were getting ready to change rooms. And so, other than what we actually was able to capture, everything else was just, our personal experiences. But
it's like we caught the first actual, like, I have no answer for it, video that we caught was at Scott County, a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys have been there, so if you go in the kitchen, they've got that table in the center with the pan hanging over top of it.
The kitchen. It was the
kitchen, yeah.
Yeah, they've got the pans hanging. We watched a cast iron just start
swinging on its own.
Jessica walked over and stopped it even, and it went
just started back,
picking up momentum even.
I think I
That's
seen
all.
that video. I think I seen that video you posted. That was pretty wild. And seeing what we captured there, we were in the kitchen as well.
Yep.
And what's crazy is the ladies will tell you that like pretty much the hot spot of the place is the third floor.
We
But
didn't
like
get anything.
we really didn't either. So like the hot spot for us tonight was the second floor.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you have seen our video of what we captured there, but it was just me and Josh that night, and we're finishing up our night in the kitchen, and our REM pod's going crazy. We have an EDI meter that's just going nuts, and we hear this woman from the hallway say help. I'm like, all right, there's somebody asking for help. Let me go check on them. And so I walk over, open the door, and I say hello. And about that time, a picture just gets flung off the wall, does a flip in midair, and lands, what is it, about 4.5 feet on the other side of the doorway.
Yeah.
And we when it happened, of course, I screamed and was dropping F-bombs, and Josh was like, what the fuck just happened? And it was wild because we have two different angles that we were recording from. My point of view, and that we just had a camera set up on the other table in there. And from that angle, you can see Josh messing with the REM prod, trying to get it to stop. And it doesn't stop until I say hello. And it's like when I said hello, whatever was messing with that jumped to the hallway and slapped that picture off the wall. And if you guys go and watch the video, you'll see like a white anomaly come down, and it goes to the same direction the picture goes flying. And when the video gets slowed down, you see a shadow dart across the screen. And then when that picture gets slapped off the wall, you can almost see like a shadow arm come out from behind the wall and like knocks the picture off the wall. And it's for us, me and him both, that's been our crazy experience to date. And
Yeah, that was pretty wicked.
Be down there knocking on the door like, Miranda, let me in.
see, when it happened, we had went downstairs because she was the one that stayed on site that night. I was like, hey, check this shit out. And she we tried to debunk it after it happened for probably 15 or 20 minutes, trying to knock that picture off just to get it to do it again, and it wouldn't do it. And earlier in the night, that same picture had fallen once before when we was in the cell beside the kitchen. We just captured the audio of that. And but it fell, it got knocked off the other way. And I think we tried to debunk it at that time too, didn't we?
We did.
And so we kind of just tossed that out because we didn't see it happen. We just heard it. Maybe somebody was messing with that picture during the day and it wasn't on the wall very well and just finally fell off. But when we actually seen it, it was insane. And we're going back there in 2 months, 1st of October, and hopefully they'll be active for us again. If not, that's just one of those things. I'm sure you guys have experienced some dead nights during investigations where nothing really happens.
We were so pumped. We booked Brushy. And I was like, oh my God, it was for my birthday. It was in June. I was like, that's the night of the full moon. It's a super moon. I was like, that place is going to be off the chain. Right? I sat in D Block by myself for like half an hour, just like desperately, like, when you're trying to look at the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. We went up to the auditorium. Nothing. The most we got was, like I said, my aunt and her boyfriend will tag along with us depending on where we're going. So, because we are an all-girl team, so me and her baby sister walked out of the main building. They were all in the gym. We walk out, and like I said, we've been staring hard at the darkness, trying desperately to see anything. We walk out, and I glance up at the maximum security building. I'm like, look like SpongeBob and Patrick, like, wee woo. I saw a radio to them in the gym. I'm like, is John with you guys? There's a guy out here. There's a guy. I don't know if it's a ghost, it's a real guy or what. There's a guy out here. My aunt radios back. She's like, yeah, John's with us. He's in the gym. He's with us. I'm like, so me and her sister are like, oh, what is this? We're like trying to get our phones, like record it in case it is something. scratch that. John is not with us. We do not know where he is.
Yes, because John always goes off. We'll lose John midway. Like, was that John or was that paranormal?
Oh goodness.
So we were there all night, and we had a couple of weird things, but we didn't catch anything. Nothing major happened. It was.
See, that's crazy because we've been there. That's technically where we officially started, and we had went during the day a couple of weeks before, and Josh was experiencing stuff in the kitchen, and he can tell you about that. It was weird shit that just happened because he experienced it during the day, and then again at night when we went back, and we didn't know anything about what went on in that kitchen until the guides told us about it, and what he experienced was almost like spot on what happened in that kitchen.
Yeah, it was because we were there during the day tour, and just kind of got little fuzzy, little lightheaded a little bit, and then started having some really bad headaches. And I don't know what it was, but there was just something about the kitchen that just kept drawing me in. I didn't want to leave once we got in there, and just couldn't make heads or tails out of any of it. And the having the headaches was really weird because it just came on just really hard, really sharp pain, just straight into my mind and my head. So whenever we went back to do the night tour, and the guides are kind of telling us some information that's went on in some of the different places, she got to talking about they was down serving lunch one day, and one of the guys from the coal mine was in line, and one of the other inmates cut him in line. And so dude took his little mining hammer and just caught him right across the top of the head. And so once we kind of learned of that information and where they said it was at, in accordance to where I was standing whenever I started feeling all that kind of stuff, it was almost spot on in the exact same place. So that was kind of weird for me to experience that, not knowing any of that information until a couple weeks later whenever we went back for the actual night tour.
Yeah. So that's a place I think you guys should definitely hit again, because it was almost nonstop for us that night.
Well, see, that's we've done the day tour because nachos. I didn't get the nachos, but anyway. And we took my mom, and she's petrified. She's like, I'm never going back up there from a day thing. And so I'm like, why are you more active during the day?
Yeah, I've had more experiences during the day at Brushy than I did that night. Because it was getting worse. Because when COVID first happened, we went to Brushy a lot because it was open.
It's close.
And it's not far from where we live. So I'm like, well, let's go to Brushy. And there was one day we were over there in D Block, and I'm over there on the little porch, and she goes, Jessica, come here. I need you to look at something for me. Because she's like, Mom looked up here. She freaked out, ran out. I'm like, okay, let me look. And I look up, and it looks like there's a man sitting on the steps, like he's bent down and like he's contemplating things. And all of a sudden, he looks up, and his head turns very slowly, and he looks down at me, and I'm like, nope. I said, yeah, I know why your mom ran, and I'm done too.
Because we had stuff during our walkthrough at night. We were hearing people talking from different cells. I want to say we was hearing doors slamming in behind us. And we didn't have any of equipment because, like I said, we hadn't officially started our team. It was just something we were going to go do. I think we had a digital recorder and an EMF detector. So we didn't really have anything with us. And so the only thing I remember that we actually was able to capture on audio, me and Josh were, I guess it was D Block, the building outside the building.
Yeah.
You have
kind
the
of
cells.
like the segregation area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounded like something got thrown at us. And so that was pretty wild. And he started experiencing those same head pains again in the cafeteria before he figured out what actually was going on there. And the checkerboard.
The checkerboard.
That was wild as shit. like because it was what, 6 of us that went. Yeah,
Yes.
there was 3 women and there was 3 of us guys, and we eventually just, I don't even think we planned it. We just kind of separated into a male group and a female group. We just kind of went our separate ways. And us guys were up in the sales, and we seen a checkerboard in one of the sales, and we're like, oh, let's move some of these around just to see what happens, and we'll come back and check on it. So we had moved some of the pieces around, took a picture of it, came back, and we met up with the ladies a few minutes later, and they just came from the same area, and they just happened to take a picture of it as well. All the pieces were back to where they originally were, every one of them. And I was like, no, yeah, so y'all moved them back. They're like, no, we didn't touch them. And so we went back and did it again, and I don't remember. I don't think they moved back the second time.
Well, we started taking pictures of each time we went through to see what had changed.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point in time, one of the checker pieces was moved on a spot of the board it shouldn't have been. Or
That's right.
maybe I moved that checker piece, and I was like, oh, it looks like somebody's cheating. Someone needs to fix this. And we came back like 45 minutes later, and all the checker pieces was moved off the board to the sides. It was pretty much like they just said, game over.
Like, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild, and just went blank.
Yeah, because during that time, that was all we was able to do. Really, was kind of take pictures with our phones and record some with what we had with our phones, and
yeah,
that's kind of how we were when we went to Brushy. Like, I had one of the little, the little laser grid pins
mm-hmm.
in our phones, and that was it. So, like, come Christmas, we all got each other ghost hunting stuff. It's like, happy birthday! Here's a REM pod.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, that's what I asked my mom for Christmas this year. She's like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Here's a list of some stuff you can get me."
Like, here's the list. Here's a website.
So, because I'm sure, like you guys, your equipment's grown since you started, but there's still things that you either want more of the same thing, or there's something you don't have that you want one. So, that's where we're at. We have enough to do what we want to do, but we don't have enough to do it in like multiple rooms at the same time.
Right.
So, like, we have one brim pod. We want at least 2. We want enough cameras to where we can set one up, leave it alone, and still have cameras for everybody to have. When they're so
always want more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I think only thing we have enough of. I think we have enough digital recorders, and I think enough EMF detectors. But like everything else, we only have, I think we have 4 video cameras. We don't have enough to leave sitting by itself, and
right.
So then that would leave somebody with no video camera. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and stop this since it's only about 2 minutes. All right, now that we're done with talking about Brushy, y'all recently told me you guys volunteered at Waverly Hills. Mm-hmm. How did that go? Like, how did you get on it as a volunteer at Waverly Hills?
We met up with the tour guides from Old South before the new tour guides took over. So they're friends. We consider them para family. So they all started volunteering up there, and they were like, hey, we need volunteers. If y'all are willing to make the drive, they're like, you only have to do it like once or twice a month. We're like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. So we went up there and we volunteered for about 3 months. Yeah, about 3 months. And then, like, I don't know if y'all know what's going on with Waverly right now.
Mm-hmm.
The drama that's going on with Waverly.
Yeah, a lot of drama.
We got tied up in that.
Oh no.
And then we weren't volunteers anymore. So
no, you got kicked out before I did.
Yeah. Well, then I wasn't a volunteer.
Because she posted the photo of us with the people they're feuding
with. Yeah.
And
so
well, if y'all are gonna be that petty and childish, I'm not. I left the group voluntarily because I'm too old for that stuff. And but it's a shame because I did it mainly because, as y'all know, being a paranormal investigator isn't cheap.
Oh no.
And that allowed us also to get access to that building, because
To Waverly.
Waverly Hills is my first real big location I've ever been to, and that's the one that I can really remember seeing on TV all the time through my childhood. Even watching that horrible horror movie, Death Tunnel.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That was terrible.
Don't throw shade at Death Tunnel.
Death Tunnel sucks. But like Waverly, it was always a big thing. So I'm like, oh my God, I finally get to like do something with this. Dreams do come true. And then
Right.
and then it just crashed and burned, and I was like, dang, that wasn't what I wanted it to be.
But while we were there, like it was awesome. Like helping with the tours, and even being, my thing was parking lot, because I'm sorry, that building kind of gets on me.
I liked being in the building.
See, I was cool in the parking lot, but like I was on duty, and I mean everybody was in the building, no cars buzzing around. It was just me and two other people, and we watched this shadow come out of the woods, walk across the parking lot like it was going into the building.
Huh.
And of course, like, we're all paranormal investigators that are working up there, so we're all like,
Right. So essentially, you guys got kicked out by the Historical Society.
yeah.
Yeah.
We went to a meet and greet at Old Stone Jail up in Franklin, you know.
Mhm.
And like I said, we're friends with the SQs, and we're friends with the PACs, and we're friends with, public enemies.
Right.
And I took a picture of us all because we all went out to eat, and then I woke up and I was no longer a volunteer.
See, that's if they didn't have shady shit going on, they wouldn't react that way.
Right.
They would just be like, oh, no big deal, whatever. But for them to be blocking people from their Facebook page, deleting comments, and just basically hiding shit, that right there alone tells you they're guilty of some stuff they shouldn't be doing. And
Yep.
like that place is, I know Josh wants to go there. I know Ted wants to hit that place up. That's my wife's top place. And my wife's like, I don't want to go up there till all this is settled and it's back to where, how it needs to be. I've been fortunate enough to be there 3 times, but of course this was 4 or 5 years ago before all this mess started. And so hopefully it'll get back to the rightful owners before too long, and everybody can get back up there and actually enjoying it the way it deserves to be enjoyed. So
Right.
So what was, other than that shadow you seen coming out of the woods, what's some of the crazy stuff y'all guys experienced there?
Well, for me, every time I'm on the 3rd floor, it's always the 3rd floor. Something always weird happens to me. That creeper always comes towards me, or I always see shadows peeking around the corners, and I'm just, there was one time I was up on the 5th floor, and it felt like a small hand had grabbed my hand. Like, I was, this was when I had this was during a public investigation. This was when I was volunteering up there. This was when I was just getting into the paranormal thing. And I was panicking because she's like, okay, we're about to go down to the 4th floor. And I'm like, no, I don't like the 4th floor. I hate the 4th floor. I don't like it. This was my 2nd time going. All of a sudden, I just feel like it was like a little, like an itty bitty hand just grabbed my hand, like, it's okay, it'll be okay. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I got on the 4th floor. I calmed down. I was fine, and then I wasn't fine because I was like, I'm on the 4th floor. And then when I was on a tour with what was his name? I can't think of his name. Jacob and Lisa, and we were waiting for, I can't remember who the tour guide was at the moment. I think it was Melanie. She was wrapping up or something, and we were standing out in the hallway on the 1st floor. We were just standing there. We kept hearing what sounded like someone walking down the hallway towards us. I picked our lights up. I was like, hello? There's a tour down here. You need to walk softer. And then it stops. I'm like, okay. Take the flashlight off. We're standing there, and it sounds like moving faster. okay, that sounds like it's getting closer to us. And the closer it gets, you know, you're going to eventually see someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's dark as 40 hells on that first floor, but you'll eventually see someone. And all of a sudden, it's just stops. We were like, what's that? Next thing we hear, it sounds like something going like bang, bang. And then it was like nothing. We were like, okay, you can wrap up this tour because I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah, the only thing that happened, like I said, I worked parking lot a lot because that building, I don't know, it just, with everything that's going on, it just has a different vibe. I don't know.
Right.
But we were doing the shadow thing on the 4th floor, you know? And of course, like I said, I'm the first one to be like, you want to see some shadow people? Like, we'll go down here. So we were in the hall looking towards like the OR, right? And like, I'm sure you can see the reflection in my glasses. That's what it looked like at the end of the hall. And we were like, hey, you know, we thought it was somebody with a flashlight, like on the stairwell or something. So we took our little radios out and we're like SpongeBob and Patrick, you know, hey, you know, they're doing the shadow test up here, you know. And they radioed back, security's in the building. There's nobody that's unaccounted for. Like, okay.
Yeah, that place is I don't think if anybody goes there, I don't think they'll leave disappointed. And even if they don't experience something paranormal wise, just the building itself, in my opinion, is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
Because it's just a huge, beautiful building and so much history there, and just it's just a place that I think everybody deserves to go to, even if they're not into the paranormal. Like I said, so hopefully all that drama will get settled soon, and then get back to how it needs to be.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to go back.
Same. Like Jessica said, that was our first, you know, hey, we're going on a paranormal investigation. We were like, it's got to be Waverly.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we booked the public and we went up there, and like you said, like as soon as you got out of the car, looking at that building, it's like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
So with everything that's going on now, and like I said, we were like, yeah, we'll drive 4 hours up there to volunteer twice a month. That's great. I don't care. We'll do it. So now we're just kind of sitting in wait.
Right. So as far as equipment goes, what is like each one of yours, like your favorite piece of equipment?
Mine's my dowsing rods.
I love the REM pod. Don't get me wrong. I love the REM pod. But we also use the little cat toys, you know, the cat balls.
Yep.
Those things, like at Scott County, those things are my favorite thing, like ever. Because you'll actually, like, the REM pod's great because, you know, it lights up, you know. But those will actually, like, move wherever they're going, you know. And like I said, I'm blind as a bat, but I can see the little light ball.
Right.
So I know kind of where I need to look. So, yeah, I guess they would be.
The cat balls.
Yeah,
I like the cat balls too, but I really like my dowsing rods. I get more.
They don't work for me.
I'm the same way. I don't have very much luck with them. Josh is our dowsing rod guy. He always seems to get a lot of interaction with them.
Yeah,
And,
sometimes too much.
There will be times that one of the rods or even both of them just be spinning in complete circles, and you know he's having to kind of lean back so it's not chopping, you know, hitting him in the neck and stuff. So, but yeah, he has a lot of luck with those. I think my personal favorite's probably the REM pod, because you know, like you said, it lights up and it you have to be basically right up on it for it to do anything. So the only downfall is if you have walkies. I don't know if you have experienced the walkie.
Sets them off.
We experienced that at the last investigation we did, and of course we ended up debunking it. But if anybody listening, if you have a REM pod and you're using walkies, make sure you don't use the walkie while the REM pod's on.
Yep.
Which I knew that going in, and when it happened, I think that was my first question to Josh. I was like, "Did it go off when I came over the walkie?" And I think at the time we didn't put two and two together, but then we ended up figuring it out, a few minutes later. But so
we did that at Rosemont down in Gallatin. We had just got the REM pod. Of course, we were like, "Oh my god, we have a REM pod. We're bona fide now. We have a REM pod." And nobody told us about the walkie thing. We didn't know anything about it.
Right.
So, of course, we had them. We were talking back and forth, and this thing kept going off. We were like, we're like recording it and everything. And we raced down to some friends of ours, and I was like, look at this. You can't deny this. Look at this. And yeah, he was like, yeah, check this out. And he like clicked the walkie.
Right.
I was like,
See, I learned that from one of the ghost shows, and I was like, and it always stuck with me. I was like, I'll have to remember that if we ever get one of those. And of course, I fucking forgot about it when we were there, and because we had sent Josh upstairs by himself. We was at the old funeral home in Lynchburg, and he'd been up there about 15 minutes, and I was like, I want to check on him, see what's going on. And like I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, man, this REM pod's like going nuts. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's been quiet this whole time, and now it's going crazy. And then we go up there, and it stops like when we get up there. And I was like, well, that fucking figures. I think it went off once or twice once we actually got up there. And then we figured out it was the walkie. But we actually captured our EMF detector being knocked off a chair during that time. It'd been propped up in this chair the entire time he was up there. So it had been sitting stationary for probably about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we get up there when all the stuff's going on with the REM pod, and right about the time we walk in the room, it just gets knocked off the chair. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Let me I want to try to debunk this first. I was like, maybe us walking around caused it to vibrate off. And I've got the video posted on our YouTube, and you can see me walking around the chair and kind of bouncing around and stuff, and it never moves again after we put it back up there. So that was a pretty cool thing we captured. So back to equipment. What's one piece that you could just throw it away and never care if you had it again? Like it's your least favorite piece of equipment.
Lindsay, her little sister, when we were first getting our kit together, she's like, I know what I'm going to buy. Okay. She bought one of those hyperbolic dish things. It looks like a laser gun with a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that thing so much. It sets off all of our equipment.
Oh no.
You can't hear I can't hear anything through it.
I can hear everything with it.
And anytime we're in the zone and we're having a good moment, next thing you know, you hear Lindsay clicking the trigger on. She's like,
hear
Oh.
on all of our recordings, click, click.
trash it. I hate it. I mean, it gets forgot.
And I guess if I had to pick one that I could just do without, and it's probably because I don't have good luck with them, I'd probably do away with the dowsing rods because I just don't have luck with them. But Josh gets a lot of luck with them, and so we use it quite a bit. Do you guys do the SS method at all?
Yes, I love that.
So that's pretty wild. And for anybody listening that don't know what the SS method is, more or less you have your spirit box, you got your headphones plugged into them. I don't know about you guys, but we always blindfold ourselves.
Yeah.
So you're blindfolded, pretty much all your senses are kind of heightened because you can't see anything and all you can hear is this white noise. And so the other people are asking these questions, and they're pretty much just spitting out whatever they can hear come through. And so have you guys ever had any like really good interaction doing the SS method?
Yeah, we were at Old South and like Chastity. It's not a common name. You're not going to get it. But so I was in the body box and I had the headphones on. I had the blindfold on and everything. And they were out in like, what is that?
It's the waiting room.
Yeah, like the waiting room area, And I guess one of them asked like, who's in the body box?
Mm-hmm.
And like, Chastity came through the thing. I was like, I've known people my entire life that don't say my name that clearly. I was like, I'm done. I'm coming out.
That's pretty wild.
Fast in my life.
But now, like, I'm the first one to be like,
you want to try that? Let's do this.
Right. I think that's how Josh is. He's normally the first one to jump the gun. He's like, I want to go ahead and start this. He loves doing the SS method.
Yeah, that's great.
I think it's because like I'm so in my head. Like I'm such a logical person.
Mm-hmm.
So like to take away, my sight and my hearing and everything, it kind of puts me in the bubble, I guess, to experience something. because like on a normal investigation, Jessica will be like, "Oh my god, I have this," and I'm like, "I didn't get that."
Right.
But
See, we're gonna have Ted try that out on our next investigation. He's the newest
Heck
member of
yeah.
our team, so he hasn't got to experience a lot of this stuff. And I kind of have an idea in my head of something I want to try with him, and I'm not going to tell him yet. So, but it's gonna
I'm
involve
willing to do anything, really. You know.
it's gonna involve
Wi-Fi.
the Estes method. But
Cool.
we I have an idea for him. I think I may have told Josh about it, but I can't remember. So yeah, Ted's first investigation with us is coming up here soon, like 5-6 days,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Close.
I'm
so-
excited.
yeah,
I like it.
it's gonna be a good time, and so what's one place? Well, so I say, is there any place that you guys just refuse to go for whatever reason? Like you've heard bad shit about it, you just heard it's not active, just whatever reason you refuse to go there.
I don't. Like, I'm the first one to be like, yeah, okay, whatever, we'll
She's
go.
that kind of white person.
I can guarantee I can answer this for her because it was top of my list after some friends of ours went.
Go ahead, Chastity. What is it, Chastity?
I wanted to go to Willow's Peak,
Exactly. No, fuck no.
and Jessica and the rest of the team was like, no, we're not going up there. You're not having some demon climb on you. No, we're I'm like,
What is this place?
Willow's Weep. It's in Indiana.
Wait, not now.
Well, it is right now, but they're not allowing investigators in anymore.
Don't
Oh
think
yeah,
I've
because
ever-
he's about to tear it down.
Willow's Weep. I've
There-
never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think I've
look
ever
it
heard of
up.
that
There's
place
some
either.
documentaries like on
Mhm.
YouTube and stuff, and it's a
Well, I'll
trip.
give you an idea. There was one person. Okay, it was what are they're Black Wolf. The Eskews and Beth
Our paramom.
Yeah,
Mm.
we all met all them, through Old South, but they all went up there. It was enough to make Cindy, who was part of their team, quit the paranormal thing. She does not investigate, and she also
And Beth spent the whole night like our paramom.
we call her like Beth
So-
is known to be like a para-thug. That's what she calls herself. She ain't afraid of anything. She went in there, she was in there, and she said F this and spent the night in
In the barn.
Wouldn't go back and refused.
Huh.
So of course they're telling us these stories. I'm like, I want to go, and she's like, I knew you would, and you're not going. She's like, I'm gonna call him right now, and I'm gonna tell him that you're not going. I'm like, but I want to,
See, that would make me want to go too.
right?
Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
So I don't think there's any place that I wouldn't go. And there's no place I don't think we've been that I wouldn't go back to, even if it was a dead night. Because we've been fortunate enough as a team, we haven't had very many dead nights.
Right.
I
That
think
one
since
night, really
Only dead night we've had, but I mean, I was so bummed.
I think we've been doing this for a couple of years, and I think in total, probably out about the 20 investigations we've done, we've had maybe 3 dead nights.
Yeah.
And it wasn't completely dead. Like we had little personal experiences here and there, but it was nothing that we actually captured. I think probably the biggest thing that happened to us at the old Stone Jail was I got scared by the mannequins. So,
I hate them damn things.
dude,
Well, at
Oh.
Old Stone, that's when the REM pod went off. We were sitting in the jail cell,
yeah.
and your aunt climbed your head, right up her head. No,
Professionals.
so I always like asking this question. I think I've asked everybody that's done the show so far. Top of your bucket list, a place you have to go before you stop doing this.
Stanley Hotel and Sloss Furnace. Like, I grew up wanting to go to the Sloss Furnace, and I'm a Stephen King nut. And
Right.
the Stanley, I mean,
Right.
mine's Trans Allegheny and Alcatraz. I want to go really bad to both of those.
See, Trans Allegheny's my top one. So, I think Josh's his top one is other than like Waverly, is actually the old Tennessee State Prison. Ain't that right?
Oh, I want to go there
Yeah.
too.
Yes, and unfortunately, I don't think that will ever come to reality.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Because they are probably going to end up destroying it over the next 5 to 10 years.
Terrible. And see,
Likes to destroy stuff.
that's what kills me. It is they could turn that building into something freaking insane, and not just for the paranormal. They could do so much with that building, and if they opened it up to investigations, they could make so much money.
Well, what
They
really hurt was last year that tornado came through, and
Mhm.
it really kind of just done it in at that point.
Yeah. So
That's how like Knoxville is like we have the Bijou is haunted. Everybody knows it's haunted. But if you reach out to them, we don't allow investigations. The Ramsey house, again, everybody, it's in books, it's documented. We don't allow them.
and see, and I think some places just don't want that negative attention
Yep.
towards your
Yeah.
building, which I mean I understand it, but at the same time, if like they're struggling to keep their doors open or they need money for repairs or for this and that,
Yeah.
you have a perfect moneymaker just right there in front of you. And as long as you're not charging outrageous amounts of money, you're going to have teams coming in left and right, as long as it's reasonably affordable.
Right.
And of course, some of these more expensive ones, you'd have to get a little bit more people to go with you because some of them are pricey, as everybody knows. But I think there's only been one or two that I've reached out to that they were like, yeah, we can let you guys in, but you got to pay X amount of dollars. And I'm like, no. I was like, I'm not paying $800 for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy to me how some of these places do that kind of stuff. So what's next for you guys? What do you have lined up? What's coming up for you guys?
We have Screamfest in Athens. We're gonna be at that. That place is really cool. If you haven't been, you gotta go. It's a haunted house, like a scare actor, but it's housed in a haunted house.
Right.
So that place is pretty cool. And then we have a couple residentials and the Mothman Festival. And
All right.
as of right now, that's it.
Yeah, we don't have any big paranormal because we've been trying to make up for the lack of concerts we've had to go to. So we booked the last part of our year up full of concerts, and we're like, when did we do this?
Right.
We just got excited with it. But
I
mean, there's no short of any sort of paranormal thing. I work downtown Knoxville. I work on Gay Street. There's always something going on
right.
where I work at.
See, and that's the thing. Also, I work for University of Tennessee, and it's football time in Tennessee. So there goes my weekend.
So where can people find you guys if they want to look you guys up on the internet?
We're on everything. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We have a Shopify. What else have we got? That's about it. I got all kinds of stuff, but yeah.
If you find Facebook, we
you
have
can find everything.
Yeah,
else.
we have a link tree. You can find all the other handles,
Right.
whatnot.
We have a YouTube, but there's not anything on it right
now. You gotta start pushing your YouTube. Making that where you post all your evidence to get people drawn to that.
Right.
So is it all just at Mockingbird Paranormal, or is it abbreviated? Anything?
Nope. It's at Mockingbird Paranormal on everything.
Instagram is Mockingbird Paranormal TN.
Okay. So anybody listening, if you just go to all those different social sites, look these gals up. The video they got from Scott County Jail I thought was really cool. Because those cast iron skillets are not light, and for it just to start kind of swaying back and forth like that, and nothing's moving it. I thought that was pretty cool. So you mentioned a second ago about doing personal residences. How does that normally go? Because like we don't normally do personal residences. We're just not. Wouldn't say we're not fans of it, but at the same time, it's kind of the people that's reached out to us so
Yeah.
far, some of their stuff they're saying is like so far fetched that like if that's really going on, I was like, I think you need to be contacting a priest and not a paranormal
Right, we
team.
had those
So,
too.
Right. We'll see. In our not our circle, but our bigger circle, we have a demonologist. We have a priest we can reach out to if it's something that we're not comfortable dealing with.
mhm,
But like, if somebody shoots us a message and says, "Hey, this is going on in my house," usually what will happen is me and Jessica, and usually John, like I said, because we are, a bunch of girls.
mhm.
We'll go and we'll talk to them before we ever say we're going to do any kind of investigation. Because if I roll up to your house and it gives me Charles Manson vibes, I'm not spending the night in your house.
Right.
But if it's on, the up and up, then we'll get with Chelsea and Lindsay and everything and get all of our stuff
We'll see.
and investigate. And if there's, like I said, if there's something going on that we aren't comfortable dealing with, we'll be like, hey, we can put you in touch with, this person, this person, this person, this person. But I mean, if you just want me to come in and document, then we can definitely do that, But
Right.
I don't know. They're kind of weird.
I'm not a fan of residential. The ones we have been doing are people we kind of know on a more
Mhm.
personal basis because there's so much stuff that could too many legal issues with that, and I don't like dealing with it. So.
If you guys do go into that, print off an insurance waiver, like.
Oh yeah, we had actually mocked up a thing for people to sign when we first started.
Yeah.
That way, they can't say we just come in there and did this or that. They legally signed this stating we could do this and that. So if we ever decide to do it, we've already got something kind of mocked up, and it's just like you said, kind of the Charles Manson vibe. That's kind of another reason we kind of stray away from it because you don't know really what you're walking into.
Yeah.
And also, it's like if you go in there and you experience absolutely nothing, capture absolutely nothing, then you got to tell this person, "Hey, nothing happened." Then they're going to think they're just crazy.
Yeah,
And-
they're crazy, and you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. So it's kind of one of those things. It's kind of iffy for us. I mean, we've done my grandmother's house a few times, and like you said, we're willing to do people's houses we know and stuff. But if it's something that really, like I guess, intrigued us, we'd probably think about it. But it has to be something really attention grabbing for us to even really
Right.
consider doing that. But
All right.
so, all right, ladies. Well, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to wrap this up. I thank you guys for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
It was a good chat. You guys are very lively, which is awesome. So hopefully, you guys get some good stuff coming up. Capture some more cool evidence, like what you captured at Scott County. So everybody, go look these ladies up. Mockingbird Paranormal, Chastity and Jessica. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
See y'all later.
We'll talk to
Bye.
everybody
Thank y'all.
soon.
See y'all.
All right, bye bye.